Welcome to the Social Stack, your go-to channel for real estate marketing based in technology. I'm Amy Stack, and today we're recording a mastermind all about how to make your database work for you, or as we like to call it, your data bank. Before we get started, if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button if you want to learn more about things related to marketing in technology for your real estate business, and then hit that bell icon to make sure that you get a notification anytime a new video comes out. All right, let's get started. Today, we're talking about how to really maximize your database. And I'm going to talk give a little bit of a recap of a session from the Keller Williams family reunion event that was in February. I think that we all know that any profitable business has a database, yet it doesn't stop there, okay? Some of you guys have seen me do this before, and that's okay. I'm going to do it again. It's always good to have a reiteration. And for those of you that haven't seen it, this is really important that everybody understands the life of a lead. And in honor of St. Patrick's Day, for those of you watching later, that's why I'm wearing, my fun glasses. I'm going to use our green color. So these are not the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland. They are, oh, look, Dee, fun background. Sorry, I got distracted. This is the life of a lead. So typically we love working with clients. This is where they're going to buy their home, right? So we love getting in touch with them, like right about here, maybe here, right? And in their journey of home buying. And we kind of drop off that communication after they buy a house, because typically somebody, they buy a house today, they're not going to buy a house again tomorrow, right? Usually, every now and then you can find that lucky pot of gold. But then a lot of times we fail at keeping in touch with them from after they bought the house to when they're ready to buy their next property. So we've talked about this in marketing before, that we want to make sure that we are staying in touch with people, because the MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, tells us that when you have 1,926 contacts in your database, if you work it the right way, you'll net $1 million. But having those contacts in your database isn't enough. You actually have to follow up and do stuff with them. So if you've got them and they're here and you're not touching base with them, well, then how do they know to come back to you here, right? So we want to make sure that we're staying in contact with them, in constant communication, but not only are we talking to them, we're giving them information that they want to learn about, that's valuable to them, and maybe even providing them a unique, customized experience. So everybody on the same page with that? So we want it to the point where when they're up here and they're really seriously thinking about buying or selling, they don't even have to think about who they're going to talk to about real estate. They know, because of all these conversations that you've had up to that point, that you're the local real estate expert that they need to turn to. Any questions about this part?
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second.
Yeah.
I also think it's important, obviously your clients close on their home, and yeah, sure, they might not buy for, 3 to 5, 7 years, whatever that number looks like. But as you're communicating with them from close to their next purchase, in between there is a bunch of referrals. So you're staying on top of mind, not only for them, but keeping that relationship going to build your business through referrals from past clients. So
look at all those little pieces of gold.
It's important to continue to stay in front of your people. And Amy and I thought this was going to be a good idea because, again, it's a mastermind. So if people have ideas on, hey, I want to be tagging my database this way, because I'll be honest with you, my database isn't tagged. That's why I'm participating in this. And I feel like if I do tag my database the correct way, I can now provide a strategy, a touch point strategy to say my top 10 to 20% of my database that supports my business at a higher level than most. I'm going to touch them a different way than I would the people I've done no business with that are still in my database. So again, I just, creative ways to tagging. That's obviously not very creative. Like, hey, where are my biggest supporters? Now let's pour into them on a more personal level than I would someone else maybe I haven't even talked to. But the idea here would be, let's all get creative and let's talk about it, come up with some ideas. How should we all be, how do we want to see our database tagged? And how do we think that's going to help grow our businesses? So that's my 2 cents for now.
I love it. And that is a great 2 cents to start out with. And I told you there was a couple of things I was going to read that were examples from Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now. So we talked about the fact that every business has, any successful business has a database, right? We don't want to leave it just at having those contacts in there. There's 3 different types of databases out there. There's an essential database, which has the information like your name, contact information, and the type of business you've conducted with them. There's an effective database, which has it's giving you permission to contact those people moving forward to gather personal information and preferences and segment them into proper groups, which then allows you to use that information to have a more purposeful and consistent communication with them. And then there's the exceptional database. So that contains triggers that actually help enable you to automate your communication around those different groups that I just mentioned. So why don't you guys go ahead and put in the chat what type of database you have right now? Do you have essential, effective, or exceptional? Essential, effective, or exceptional? I'm curious to see where we all are in our business right now. Patty says essential. Dave just shared with us, he's got essential basically, right? Effective, essential, 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 lots of essentials. Okay, so let's talk about how we can go from being essential to being effective. Because I don't know about you, but I think that, I know Dave, we've had this conversation. I've talked to a lot of you guys. We don't want to just have the information in there. We want to be like Amazon, right? We want to be able to be giving them information based on their preferences before they even realize that they need that information, right? So using those tags in your database and really setting that up correctly from the beginning is going to help you move from essential to effective. And then once you've got that set up, you'll be able to go from effective to exceptional. And it's okay if this doesn't happen all in one day or 1 week. You just want to be purposeful about doing this. And as you're using your database, get 1% better every day, just like the one thing teaches us. Any questions on that so far? All right. Well, we've got a fair amount of people on the call. So I would love to just start with talking about if anybody is already using tags, let us know what tags those are, and we can build from there. So go ahead and unmute. And if you can't figure out how to unmute, raise your hand and I'll try to walk you through it. Oh, we got some in the chats already. Emily shared that she's got past clients, supporters, which she qualifies as people who have referred business to us. We have buying in 2021, buying in 2022, etc. Same thing for selling. A vendor tag, the DTD2s. Does anybody know what that is? Or I know some of you know. All right, so let's see. Emily, do you want to unmute? Can you and explain the DTD2s? I don't want to talk the whole time.
Hi, I don't know where it comes from, but it's essentially a quarterly call system where you break down the database into do 2 letters a day or a week, I guess. You pick, the letters are set out ahead of time, so B and E. You call everyone whose last name is B or E throughout the whole week. And by doing that, you contact everyone in your database 4 times a year.
Perfect. Yeah, and I believe that's a bold tool. If anybody wants to correct me, feel free. But thank you for sharing. We've got people in the chat saying VIP, buyer, seller, DTD2 again, vendor, lender, sphere of influence, hit list. Ken is organizing it not just by a word, but by the number of months. So how far they are out from buying or selling. 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12, and 12 plus for a nurture. So Ken, if you want to unmute and talk a little bit about that, does that mean that you're changing the tags as they move through that process with you?
Yep, absolutely.
So how are you using that?
Well, it's more so for me to be able to look at the database and say, okay, what do I have going on? And it prevents some of these people that might be at 12-month plus from falling through the cracks. So they're gonna be on a couple of different smart plans. I'm just now doing the newsletter in the form of a smart plan. Before it was just, a separate tag. So yeah, they're going to be on that. They're going to be on a call list. They're just going to be there. And I just want to make sure that I go back and check that to see if I'm not missing anything.
Ken, you have your first question. It says, do you use command? Came through in the chat.
Me, not me.
No? All right.
Not that. No. I had a question about when you use the smart plans as opposed to a campaign.
Oh, no, somebody was asking you if you're using command for this stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then somebody also said, can you elaborate on your hit list?
Well, the hit list is the hit list. These are, of people that are quote unquote, prospects. There's going to be those that are going to be higher up the food chain for whatever reason, right? It could be because it's a referral. It could be for a lot of different reasons, but, let's say there's, 50, good solid prospects I'm dealing with. Of that, there's those that I want to make sure, it don't fall through the cracks. And when something does happen, be it a buy, sell, or both, that I'm the guy that's doing it. So it's kind of like a TLC thing. But
Yeah, that's awesome. To elaborate on your timeline idea for tags, Emily chimed in and she said they used to do the months. However, they ran into the issue where they were saying 6 months from when, selling 2 years from when. So they switched over to a seasonal tag. I think that's a great idea too. So I'm going to put in a little 2 cents, and then Ken, I want to get to your smart plan question too, is if you guys haven't been using the opportunity pipeline for cultivating, that is a great place to start to label your 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, however you want to qualify that. So use that first phase of the opportunity pipeline for who you're nurturing. And you can make a stage in there for people that are on your 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12 month, by those timeframes, I suppose. And then you can put notes in their contacts and stuff like that so that you don't remember when the when is. And you can have specific smart plans, which will lead right into Ken's question, built out ready to assign to those people. And you can have a checklist to remind you which smart plan to add them to.
Quickly, how I derive with the 0 to 3, 6 to 12, that's all from the first contact. So the first time we talk, I'm getting that information from them. So I know it's 0 to 3 from the first phone call we had.
Awesome. So you have that noted inside their contact card.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a great tip.
Hey, Ken, so when you tag these people, based on the time frame, are you then putting them in a certain piece of the opportunity section of command? Are you watching them go step by step? Or are you
No, I'm just now starting to put those people in there as far as, opportunities go. The ones that I initially started putting in were stuff that I know this is happening right now. Like it's a listing that, I already got it. Everything's fine. You're just in the beginning stages, doing the pictures and blah, blah, blah. So those were the ones that ended up, in the opportunities, and not necessarily the 0 to 3, 6 to 12, those people. But I am starting to add those people in now.
well, it's just interesting because everybody can run their business differently through command. Like when I go into command, the first place I go to every day is opportunities, and I have every opportunity I could possibly think of in there that's a piece of potential business, and they're broken down, like where they are in each stage. So I'm not tagging my database per se on where they're at in the process. I'm just creating that opportunity and putting them in that pipeline. And then I want to try and tag my database to be able to touch these individuals on a personal level. I mean, I'm a relational business guy versus transactional, and I I have clients who have young kids. If they're a big supporter of my business, I should be sending their kids like a little birthday card or like a little birthday present. And that's the kind of stuff that's important to me. That's why I'm here today, is like coming up with those kind of ideas. I mean, I don't know if anyone's doing any of this right now, but I'd love to hear if anybody's doing that. But going back to what we were just talking about, it's interesting that Command provides this platform where I might be doing it one way, someone else might be doing it another way. Just whatever works for your specific.
Yeah, your businesses, there's so many different ways to run a real estate business, right? And Command's 100% customizable to help you make it fit your needs so that you're not trying to fit your business around the platform. So what types of questions are you guys asking yourselves before you start tagging? What information are you looking for that you want to be able to pull up quickly to be able to communicate with your clients? Have you thought about that? We had another comment come in saying that they're tagging the neighborhoods.
I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message.
Apparently Donald Trump's on the call with us.
He's not doing anything right now, so he figured he'd hop on.
So
I have a question.
Yes,
specifically around the tags, because I am pretty much along the lines of everyone and what they're doing for their tagging. We do a 36 touch tag, an email only if they came through just, randomly through an email. We do birthdays. So if there's a March birthday, we'll pull all the March birthdays at the beginning of the month and then send out a generalized birthday card to everybody in the month of their tagged birthday. So kind of along the lines of what Dave said. So I think it has the opportunity in Command to add other birthdays and like a spouse as well. So if that could be an option, we do that just to give our agent the opportunity to call them, but also have another touch. But I struggle with referral tags. And I don't know if someone has really come up with a great system, but when we have a referral come in, are you guys tagging them referral? And if they're referring twice, does the tag change? What I would love to dive in a little bit on referral tags, because I get lost in who refers, who should get a gift, and then are they a status of a referral? It just, for some reason, just struggle with it.
I think that's a great conversation to have. And Riley, can you just clarify, are you looking, and both of these are great, are you looking to build a system around agent referrals or client referrals?
Specifically client is what I was hoping to do. Yeah, we get a lot of those. So just trying to figure out what is the best way to track it. And if I wanted to send a gift to all the referrals last year, what is everyone doing in that regard?
Sally wrote in referral, agent name, referral, SOI name. Do you want to elaborate on that, Sally? I'm gonna call you out, put it in the chat.
Hello.
Hi.
So when I get referrals from an agent, I'll tag them referral and then with the agent name after it. That way I can search by that agent's name or go to that. I don't remember if it's linked to the contact or not. Same thing with the client. Like if one of my past clients or sphere of influence refers somebody to me, I will put their name in the referral, like referral and colon or dash their name.
Okay, so you have your client and then you tag them the name of the person who referred them.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll put referral and then the person's name who referred it. Right. Because then I can always search referral. I can search for referral, just that word, and then sort it. And then I can see, all the referrals that came from that particular person or agent.
So out of curiosity, thanks for sharing. Do you feel like if someone is referring multiple times, is that a different tag? If it's the same person referring? Okay. So just they'll have it within.
Yeah, because my tag's already there. Once I create the tag, it's already there. So I just always tag it to that one. And then, like I said, if I search by tags by referral, I can see all the ones for that person all in a row, all in a,
yeah,
together.
That's true.
So it's just easier to see them, you know, when I do a report by referral.
Okay.
I've had some agents do smart plans specifically around referrals. I've helped a couple people build stuff out like that, where they send, when the referral comes in, they add them to the plan, and they will do like multiple steps of, you know, a thank you text, send a, you know, a thank you card. Some people send a gift card. Obviously you can't promote that you're going to send the gift card with RESPA and everything. That doesn't mean you can't thank them after the fact. And so they do a little plan of how to follow up with them. Other people, I haven't built one of these yet, but I have talked to people about building a smart plan that is asking for referrals. So just little drip reminders throughout the year to say, you know, do you know anybody looking? But you could put it in your own words, of course.
Right.
Bill, did you want to elaborate on your comment too? You had a few things to say about referrals.
Yeah, it's well, first, if somebody refers us, that buyer or seller that's in there, we tag them as past client referral. And as those past clients refer people to us, we place them in certain tags. Like one of them is board of directors. We have a certain set of clients, and there might be 10 or 20. They if anybody breathes real estate, they always refer us. The next level down is executives. They're usually going to refer us and things like that. As soon as somebody refers us, we send them out a Starbucks tag, and we had a custom one made up with our little logo on it and things like that. And it seems to work really, really, really well. So we use the referrals to kind of put our clients in different categories and how we treat them. So later in the year, before the pandemic, we used to have a chef come in and cook for them. Would bring 5 or 10 of them in, and would do special things for the board of directors, different things for the executives, and then different things for what we call friends. So it's just, and we try to create a little bit of like, don't you friends want to be executives? Don't you executives want to be board of directors, and kind of move everybody up the line. But we still have a lot of scrubbing to do in our database. Believe me, I could be in there 27 hours a day and still not have it right.
Bill, I think that's gold. And I think that goes right into what Dave was saying about identifying that top 10 to 20% of your database too.
Yeah, because we do our numbers every year, and we're usually in the high 80s. Last year, 92% of our business came from our sphere and our past client. And that's really the cheapest people to market to versus farming and all that other stuff where you spend money.
So you're identifying where the leads are coming from initially, and then creating tags and smart plans around that to follow up with unique information. Write that down, guys. All right. I see we have agent to agent, local, agent to agent out of the area. Those are some more tag ideas. Let's see. Just trying to scroll through the chat here. And I think Bill brought up a great point. It seemed like a lot of information that was coming in the chat was buyer, seller, the year, right? That is all really good information to have. However, if everybody's doing that, how are you making the experience unique to those clients, right? So think about Ford. Are you guys familiar with that? F-O-R-D, not the car company? All right, somebody come on and tell me what Ford means. I saw Gary nodding his head.
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams.
So how could you use that in a tagging system?
I have not done that. I use it as part of my script when I have the conversation with people.
Yeah. Because you got to get to know them, right?
Yeah,
If you don't know them, you can't tag them.
yeah. So I
Anybody?
fill in those boxes on the contact card.
Mhm.
I'm not sure about adding tags in relation to those. Somebody else have an idea?
Any
Yep,
thoughts
I
on that?
Amy, this is
Yeah.
Sally.
Hi, Sally.
So you can add tags like if you know somebody has dogs or cats or whatever, you can add that in there. You can add that they have a dog or they have a cat, and on National Dog Day or whatever, you know, you can send them a little card to their dog. Same thing if they have children, if they go to a certain school, if you met them at a park, just different places that you might know people from, you can tag them from that as well.
You read my mind. So how,
That's
once you have that information and you're tagging them, how do you put that to use? I want to make sure everybody understands the practical application of this.
Well, I mean, you'd have to, ideally, you would have a smart plan, especially like for anybody who has dogs or cats, like research, okay, what is National Dog Day? What is National Cat Day? Or find out, about that, and then put a smart plan. I mean, you can do, just a one-stop shop smart plan, right? You could do a one-step smart plan that just says, hey, on this day, I got to remember all my clients with a dog need to get a card, or need to get a dog bone, or need to get, on their front porch, or, what have you, or a cat toy, or what have you, that makes sense and that is fun. I think for me, right now, I'm kind of trying to focus on how I can make things much more fun for myself and for my clients. So if it's funny, go for it, because everybody needs a laugh right now. I think, I mean, this is my 25th year in the business. I've gotten way too serious, way too serious. It's time for some fun with it. So I would say think fun. What can I do that's fun, that relates to something about my client?
And I want to add on to what Sally said, because those were some awesome ideas. Think about things that you personally like if you identify with somebody, because that's a great way to communicate with them if you have something in common. And if you take that to the next level, I know that there's a lot of agents out there, at least in our area, that are animal lovers. They're volunteering at shelters, and some of them have been talking about doing an event to, collect goods for the shelters, right? Make sure that all of your contacts that are tagged with being a dog or cat or, pet lover, whatever, that they're getting that information and they're getting that special invite to your event, or they're getting the information that you're volunteering at the local shelters. They need to know that about you too, not just what the real estate stats are.
I just thought of another great one too. My husband's into cars, and we like to go to like area car shows. I mean, we couldn't really do much last year, but this year, ran Red Hots will have, their car, everybody will have their cars out there. If you know that your client is a car buff, or they had said something about an old car one time or something, just let them know, hey, I'm going to Red Hots for the car show tonight. Meet me there. I'll buy you a hot dog. Something like that. So you can, send out quick messages like that based upon your tags as well. Send them a text, send them an email.
Even send a list of what car shows are happening this season, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Who's doing them?
I guarantee you that other agents are not out there giving that high level of unique information and touches. And then again, that's just going to reiterate that you know what's going on in the area and that you have that connection with them. It's going to make that you sink into their brain some more. What else have we got? Patty said you can also tag from where you know them. And I think Sally mentioned that a little bit too. Church, pet, little league, hobby, chamber of commerce.
I do 2 snail mail pieces a year, and they're both sports schedules. So my goal, or one of my goals, and again, all this stuff that we're talking about just takes time, and not everyone has a lot of time. But it really does take a lot of time to go through your entire database and tag them in the ways that we're talking about. But one of mine is the 2 sports schedules that I send out. Those are my 2 snail mail pieces. One's a Cubs Sox schedule. The other one's a Bears schedule. Well, if I can go through and tag my database and know who's a Cubs fan and who's a Sox fan, they all know I'm a Cubs fan. But if there's a Sox fan that's getting my Cubs schedule with the Sox one on the back, I'm going to put a little note in that mailer, giving them a little heat about being a Southside fan. And I did that last year. Didn't have my database tagged, but got a lot of response from it. So it just becomes a little more personal. So
I loved that idea. And me as a Sox fan would definitely get a chuckle out of it.
for sure. Of course.
You can also tag some who are mothers, who are fathers, to be able to do like a Mother or Father's Day type of thing, veterans, grandparents, just a special touch that says that you know a little bit more about them other than they're just a name in your contact list.
Exactly. What else is rolling around in your heads there? Questions, ideas?
Amy, I do have a question. Do you, when you're thinking about tags, are the contact tags that you've seen people use the same or different when they're using them as opportunity tags?
That's a great question. So most of the things that I've seen so far, and this doesn't mean this is how you have to do it, is people are using opportunity tags to tag how the lead came in. They might be using it for other things as well. However, if you aren't aware, you can already tag a contact with a lead source. So that's going to tell you where the lead is coming from or where the contact is coming from. However, if you start tagging your opportunities with what type of lead it is or where it came from, you'll be able to see, let's say I have, 50 leads coming in a year from Facebook, but only 2 of my opportunities that closed are from Facebook. Well, maybe I should be spending my time in a different spot or working on my conversion with that specific type of lead. You guys see how that could be a powerful tool for you?
So kind of a way to measure your ROI on your spend.
Yeah, or time. ROI doesn't just have to be money. There's time investment too. If you're spinning your wheels following up with people that are never converting, could you be spending your time somewhere else? Also, we know that typically 2 to 3 sources is where the bulk, it's that 80-20 rule, right? So if you get leads from 10 different sources, typically 2 to 3 of them are going to be your main sources of leads, and that's where you want to focus your attention. I see Bill has his hand up again, so I'll call on him.
Again, is that bad?
No, that's great. I love the participation.
It's not, it's a little bit off topic, but have people been seeing legacy tags show up in command, and do we do anything with those? Do we just ignore them? So I'm just confused if I delete them, am I deleting tags that I've already put in? Because they seem to mirror what I've already put in there. So just a general question, are the people seeing them, and what do we do with them, and why did they show up?
Bill, are you on a team?
Yeah,
That's why you're seeing them.
really?
So
all right.
this will be a good overview for you guys. If you're on a team and you had contacts in your personal side of command and you moved them from personal command to team command, all of the tags you had assigned them as a personal contact will move over to legacy tag as a team contact, because the team might be using different tags. So that way you don't lose them. However, only you can search by that legacy tag. Nobody else on your team would be able to, because it's unique to you and how you identified them earlier.
Okay, so in essence, I can just ignore them.
Yeah, if you have them tagged a different way at the team level, then you don't need to worry about the legacy tag. Now, if you have something, you could have a duplicate tag, one that's a regular, like a team level tag, and one that's a legacy tag. So if you are searching by a tag, it could pull up both of them theoretically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've been thinking, sitting here and just mulling over some things, but I love the amount of tags that people are using and what they're using them for. But to play devil's advocate, there's something to be said about a simple CRM that just has your 36 touch that you've scrubbed because they're full context, they're complete, they have an email, they have an address, they have a phone number, and then everybody else who you don't know most likely is either an email tag or their whatever tag that you've come up with that keeps them super simple. I mean, but right now we only have 4 tags and they're doing exactly what we needed them to do. Because I think from like hearing the tags about everything, I feel very overwhelmed with like how many tags per person in each, lead they have. So has anyone had success in just keeping a really simple 36 touch, knowing that that's who you're going to market to, probably who you're going to get your referrals from, and just really going hard after just a solid tag?
I saw Dave unmute.
Well, no, I mean, I think it just goes back to one of the reasons I'm here is like the importance of identifying that core group that supports your business, whatever that percentage is, and really focusing the touch point around those people. Like Riley, what are the 4 tags that you guys are using right now?
Well, I mean, mostly it's just, but we've scrubbed our database quite a bit. So, I mean, our 36 touch are full of past clients and people that have referred us. So our A, Bs, and Cs of referrals, which is within the 36 touch tag. But a lot of it is built out by the notes that our agent writes in. It's not necessarily tags, it's in the notes. So like if he needs to refer back to something, it's a robust note taking. We don't necessarily use command, just one caveat, but our CRM allows us to, build that out. So I think that there's something to be said about, being able to sift through a 36 touch tag and then finding the person. And then, but again, just devil's advocate here, not saying one's right or the other. I just, I don't know. Seems like overwhelming for me.
You're right, Riley. You have to make it fit your business. And if you guys are using it at a high level and you're getting the information that you need and contacting the people that you need when and where you need to, then that's working for you. And the same thing with, you said it's not necessarily command, that's okay. If you guys are using other platforms, if they can't do tags, I'm going to say right now it's the wrong spot for you to be. But if you're on another platform and you can tag or group, go for it. You can apply all of these same principles that way too. I see Gary has a question.
Well, I want to add on that. Thank you. I use another database also, as well as command. I'm transitioning and using command more and more, though I still have the old platform that does certain things a little better for me. And one of the values of that database is that I can sort or search by the notes. I don't think I can search notes in command at this point.
No.
The notes on a contact, I can't search the entire database for that. Am I correct, Amy?
You're right.
Right. Okay. Got it. But we use a lot of different tags. I have a tag for past clients. I have a tag for people that have bought one of my listings, those orphan clients that other agents kind of neglect over time. We have a tag for them so we can track and do some touches with them over time and see if we could pick them up as a client in the future. Not a hard sell on them. We're not trying to take someone else's client, but we track those people. I track attorneys, I track accountants, I track different professions that we might interact with. So I can easily pull up that list of people and contact somebody if I'm trying to get a particular person. So I find a lot of tags helpful. I think I understand what Riley is saying. For certain things, you want to keep it simple. Yet I like the ability to drill down and get a subset of my entire database as well. So I see value for both parts.
Yeah, so maybe you do a little bit of both. So Riley, maybe you are communicating at a high level with the 4 tags, yet if you have more tags in the database like Gary's using, it's an easy way for you to quickly look people up. So that's a great
I think sorry, I was on mute. Didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just thinking from like an operational perspective, because I'm an ops manager of my team, just like, because tags mean different things to different people. So so I've created a tag definition platform where you can go and see what a tag means, but it just, to keep it really clean and simple, that was where my head goes. So that was why I brought up and posed the question. But I think there is a lot of good information from these tags that I think, would be super beneficial as well. So.
Yeah, and Riley, I think you brought up a great point. If you guys are on a team, well, even not, individual agents, but especially on a team, you need to really clarify what your tags are for and what that signifies to you as you are putting them in the database. I saw Emily raised her hand up too.
Yeah, I totally agree with Riley, but to our team's database of 2,000 people, and I don't create.
Oh, Emily, we're losing you. I think we lost her. All right. Well, I see somebody has. Oh, Patty has. Emily, we lost
20 people with that.
We heard tag 20 people in a 2,000 database. That was it.
Let me turn my video off and I'll talk. It might be better.
Okay.
So I manage my team's database of 2,000 people, and I don't create tags unless I'm tagging more than 20 people with that tag, because we never target my time is not well spent targeting people, like a couple people here and a couple people there. We focus on like investors is one of the tags we use, because we send out investment properties, or basically the 10 tags that I put in the chat earlier were the only tags we use, because as far as our database size goes, those are the only ones that are a valuable use of my time. Everything else goes straight into the notes.
Yeah, that's a great idea, especially when you're working with bigger databases. I see Patty Hansen has her hand up, and I wanted to point out in the chat, Diane, I thought put something really good in there. So Diane, if you want to reiterate that a little bit too, so everybody can hear, I'd appreciate that.
The ones about going tag crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, I think we spend so much time looking to see what other people are doing that you could tend to get too much in your head and really literally go tag crazy, create so many that they're not usable. And by that, I mean that you have such a long list of tags that it's keeping you from really pinpointing the people that you want to communicate with on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. And I think Emily's point of, at least 20 people need to be part of it to qualify it as a tag is a great way to prevent yourself from going tag crazy. Right?
I wrote that down. I love that. The 20 plus to simplify. I love that. It's quality versus quantity.
Yes. All right, Patty, what were your thoughts?
Mine went back to my other question about opportunity tags. What are other ways you've seen or you've heard about people using tags within the opportunity spectrum rather than at the contact card level?
Is anybody here using opportunity tags currently that wants to speak to that? No. All right. Well, maybe we should do one specifically about opportunity tags too. Like I said, the lead is one that I've heard of. I've also heard of like the type of deal. So commercial, residential, luxury, new builds, that type of stuff as well, which that would follow the opportunity versus the person, because one person could have all three of those, or, a whole bunch of those different types of things, right? I think Freddie, oh no, he's talking to somebody. I thought he was raising his hand. He's talking with his hands to somebody. So those are some of the things I've seen too. I haven't really seen anybody using them other than that. And like I said, the lead as the opportunity. I know people out there are using them. So maybe we could have, I know Noel out of our Naperville Market Center is using opportunity tags. So maybe we have him come in and talk about that sometime too. I'd love to have him on as a guest.
That would be very interesting. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions?
Amy, I have something that you mentioned this week to me that I thought was a really cool way of using tags.
Yeah.
I had asked you, is there a way to send emails out through command to people that are not in your contact list? And then you and Noel suggested you download the contacts into command and then you tag them. For instance, if you had a new listing and you wanted to email area agents, you could tag them with that particular address and send out the email. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I have worked with a few agents to do that, whether it's sending out an e-blast to agents or circle prospecting in an area. People will purchase lists or get lists from, for free in their different ways. And that's not necessarily people they want to follow up with all the time, but they want to have that circle, like especially if you're farming an area, right? So like, let's say, Dave, you live in Wheaton. What are some of the neighborhoods in Wheaton?
Stonehenge, Briarcliff, Donata East.
Yeah, so let's say Dave, those are Dave's 3 primary areas, right? So he could make each of those tags and tag people that he's imported in specifically for sending out that information about just closed, just listed. And he wouldn't necessarily be reaching out to for other reasons, because they're not really a contact. Those are a not met at that point, but he wants to stay in front of them to get them to realize that he's working those areas and he's the person to go to with questions about those areas related to real estate. And you can do the same thing with agents. If you want to do an agent blast just to keep them in the loop of what's going on, or you have something, you know, in the PLN right now, everything's going so fast, right? You could email agents asking for specific things for buyers if they have something coming up, or if you have something in the PLN that you want to share, you could do a blast out to agents that way as well.
Or even share a Keller Williams, how great it is to work at Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So
Profit share, right?
how would you do that if you don't want to have them as contacts necessarily going forward? It's kind of like a sub database. How would you?
Well, so they would still be in your database. You would just have that tag for them. So you would know to just search for, you know, whatever specific tag that is. And you're not going to be labeling them buyer or, you know, forever client or, you know, dog lover, car enthusiast, whatever it is that you're using. You would just use that one tag to quickly identify them. Also, something that's coming down the pipeline, it's not here yet, is the ability to search all but, like everybody except this tag. So you could eliminate that tag from the search process. So that's coming. It's not quite here yet, but it is something that's slated to happen. It's already planned to be executed. Oh, something came in the chat here. Emily said, we ran into that issue, what Patty was talking about. We don't want agents in our database, but we still send them emails through MailChimp. So if you really don't ever want them in your database, you could use a secondary location to store that information. And like MailChimp's free up to, I think, 10,000 contacts. Maybe it's 2,000 emails a month, 10,000 contacts, something like that. So you could just have a secondary database for that too, if you don't want them in your main CRM. Emily says, yes, all but would be amazing. It's coming, it's coming. Riley asked if you're tagging 8x8 campaigns. Anybody have thoughts on that? No, I guess no.
I had a feeling. I just wasn't sure because it's a new like marketing style that we're trying. So it's like, it'd be nice to be able to pull that information and then know when they started to pull them off if we're not necessarily using command. And if people were in command using it, how they were tagging them, if they did tag them at all.
Gotcha.
So, but it sounds like maybe not. So all good.
Any other questions? We got about 5 to 10 minutes left here.
Yeah, what's 8x8 again?
What was that, Bobby?
Say what's 8x8 campaign?
Oh, you guys want to go over that a little bit more? Riley, you want to dig into that? Oh yeah, because Nadia had the same question.
Yeah, I mean, high level, just 8 touches for a new lead. We use them specifically around Zillow leads that sign up that we don't necessarily get a connection with over the phone. So we'll do 8 different styles of communication throughout 8 weeks, whether it's email, whether it's a phone call, a text message, or they're part of our newsletter if they happen to be within the time that we send. So it's just to keep it really clean for Zillow specifically. So.
Yeah, and there are 8x8 smart plans in the smart plan library for those of you using that feature of command. I almost said of campaigns, that's not right. All right, so do you guys feel like you've got a better understanding? Maybe you've gotten some ideas on what tags to use and how you can start utilizing those in your business to take you from the, you know, just the essential to that effective database and then down the line, the exceptional one. I do want to point out that, especially for those of you that are already in the effective database, with smart plans, you can set up tag triggers. It's important to know that if a contact already has the tag assigned and then you create a smart plan with the tag trigger, that contact will not automatically be added to the smart plan. If you create a smart plan and you add a tag trigger and then you have a new contact come in that you assign that tag to, that new contact will automatically hop on to that smart plan. So that functionality is already there. Something else that you guys get to learn today is that coming down the line, we will be able to auto tag based on where the lead came from. So if you're running a Facebook ad, you'll have the opportunity down the line here. They're they're testing it out. It's in labs right now. You'll have the opportunity to say, all right, I'm making this Facebook ad and it's geared towards buyers. So when a lead comes in, I want Facebook buyer to be a tag. And then because I have that tag, I want it to automatically go on my Facebook buyer smart plan, and it will all run automatically without you having to touch it. So that's coming. They're working on that right now for you. Dave, do you have any other thoughts that you want to impart on our guests today?
Yeah, I mean, just one quick thing. I mean, going back to what Riley said, there's so many tags and it could get overwhelming and confusing. You know, you could go on for days, but I would just encourage everybody, and I'm trying to do this myself, is determine the tags that make the most sense for your business, and make sure that once those people are tagged, there's something in place, and that something has to be valuable to grow your business, or else it's just you could tag everybody, you know, dog lover, cat lover, Cubs fan, Sox fan. If you're not using that tag to touch the person in a meaningful way, you are wasting a lot of time. So I would just encourage everybody, think about how you run your business, how you want to actually utilize the tag system, and then build a touch plan around that, knowing that you're going to impact for me, it's going to be, I'm going to impact my top 20% of my database on a more personal level, to keep them in that top 20%. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of great takeaways today. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I'll just add a little clarity to one of the points that was raised earlier with the DTD2. That is in bold, but it's also a separate MAPS group coaching program called Never Ending Referrals. You can look that up on KW Connect, Never Ending Referrals. And they go through I forget how many weeks it is, but it's a monthly thing you subscribe to. It's relatively inexpensive to go through the course. And they go deeper on how you actually provide something of value when you make those calls. So for me, that was one of the best tags I came up with, was every person based on their last name goes into one of the groups. And then every week I pull up my contacts and I filter by those two letters. This week is T and J, for example. And I'm calling everyone who has a last name beginning with T or J. And I ignore the little voice in my head that says, oh, I don't need to call this person. I spoke to them. You know, I have nothing new going on with them. So I ignore that little voice in my head, that call bias, and I just pick up the phone and make the call. And it's amazing the conversations that elicits. And sometimes there are people I haven't talked to in years because I skipped them previously, but they're so thankful to get the call. And it's just a way of getting that connection that Dave is referring to. So you're not missing out on people, and you're talking to them every quarter, every quarter of the year, everyone's getting at least one call from you. And you do that until they die or they buy, right? One or the other, or both.
Exactly. Well, you guys, it is 1:57. We do have a 2 o'clock class starting on the same line here. So I want to thank you all for your insights and your participation. I think today was a wonderful session. I think we'll have to do some more masterminds. Some of the big points I wanted to make today was what I took away was be meaningful, be purposeful about what you are using as tags. I loved the 20 idea, the 20 people idea. If you're not going to tag at least 20 people, don't waste your time on it. And of course, identify that top 20% of your database to really hone in on and concentrate on to make that unique and personalized touch with them. With that said, we'll be back next week, 1 o'clock. I'll be talking about video in your business. So come on back to this link. You guys make sure you reach out to each other as resources to be each other's resources. You guys were talking about having conversations with people. get into scripting practice. Don't practice your conversations on your clients, practice with each other. We do a script call every Monday morning. So if you go to e2psuccess.com, you should be able to find that script information. You are all more than welcome to attend that. Thank you again for coming. I'm going to hop off because we got to get that other class going. Take care, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day.